Yo, it's the Life is Dope podcast. I'm your man, Graffiti.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's Davey.
Drinking some of that Barrel's beer. Shit's delicious.
Okay.
Go get you some. How you feeling today, bro?
Man, I'm recovering.
Oh, man. It was a rough night. It was a rough night, man. This episode is fitting because we got like two of the party guys. But last night, I did some stupid shit. I mixed Ciroc, the summer colada drink, with Fireball. And topped it off with some pickle shots. My soul left my body for about 3 hours, dog.
Your stomach's not happy at all.
Yeah, this morning, that was a bad look.
Yeah, you trying to cleanse your colon or something.
It worked.
Esophagus, colon.
But yeah, bro, I'm trying to get it together. Barrels. Yeah, man. So as always, we got special guests in the building today.
Who we got today?
Man, these guys are responsible for like damn near everything cracking in Denver as far as the entertainment and party scene.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let y'all gas yourselves. But we got my man Francois Baptiste and Jonny Denver in the building. Let's
It's good to be here. I'm gonna try some of this beer too here.
Yeah, man, please do.
Pour up.
Get some of that Barrel's beer. Barrel's beer is cold. It's delicious. Drink up.
Is this a Denver product?
Yes, most definitely.
I like it.
Yeah, man. That's a sound bite.
God damn it. Pour up. Can't drink this.
The perfect remedy for a hangover is to...
Hold on, let me tell you if I endorse it. I gotta have a sip first before I say it.
Is to don't get sober.
Oh, it's cold too. Hey. It better be cold now. Cheers, bro. Cheers.
This is priceless. See, sponsors, we love y'all.
It's like a wheat ale?
Yeah, sure.
I drink way too much, you know that?
Whatever. If it's good, yeah.
I like it.
Word. There you go, girls. So anyways, for the people that don't know, let the people know who you are. Let's start with Francois.
My name's Francois. I represent 3D Productions. Been doing this for an extremely long time. And I don't think it's ever going to end at this point. But do concerts, clubs, management. And I've known this guy here for probably, we're going almost 20 years now?
So I was 15, I'm 31, so that's 16 years.
Yeah. I've known him for a long time.
A long time.
Word. So Jonny, who are you? What do you do?
I'm Jonny. I'm a concert promoter here in Denver, and I throw shows in this great town, and just shows.
hella humble about it.
Shows. I throw a lot of shows.
I just throw concerts,
a couple
no
of
big
things you
deal.
may have heard of. Word, man. But no. Y'all do the shit in Denver. Let's gas it a little bit. So you said you've been doing this for a long time. How long exactly, as far as promotions?
No, I've been doing this probably going on almost 25 years now. Like professionally, 25 years. Like that's crazy, right?
Right.
Denver.
In Denver, definitely. How'd you get started in the promotion game?
I mean, just to make a long story short, it was just something that I just kind of fell into. You know, like you come out of high school, going to college, and start doing house parties, and you kind of find your knack, you know. So you kind of know, like at some early age, kind of like what you want to do.
Right.
And I just was blessed to meet the right people who kind of brought me into the fold, and I found like I really like concerts. I really like the entertainment business, and I always kind of set a goal for myself, like how do I get from here to there? Like you go to a concert and you sitting in a row, and I'm like, this is cool, but I want to be back there.
Right.
Like how do I be back there? So I kind of just really found a way to meet the right people and work, and get to where I wanted to get, and still trying to evolve.
Right. How about you, Jonny?
A lot of humble beginnings. Lots of putting a lot of flyers on a lot of cars. I was an intern for Francois and Tony V on the radio station when I was 15 on Sunday nights, and that's where it all kind of started. I managed a couple artists in high school and started booking some shows, and just slowly but surely, kind of like Francois said, it's just, people see the glory, but some of that grind in the beginning was not pretty, And to this day, I keep a stack of flyers in the truck or in my back pocket.
Just one day.
You know what I mean? You gotta represent and promote your product. And
Word.
I've never been afraid to stop doing that, and that's a real important piece to it. But yeah, I just started in Denver and working at the radio station. Then I started working at some of the nightclubs in Denver, booking the talent, and a lot of people don't know I'm in the electronic scene quite a bit too. So I started booking a lot of big electronic DJs and rappers in the nightclubs back in the late 2007, 8, 9, and that was a really awesome experience for me to be able to kind of just walk the line between the hip hop culture and the electronic culture, because at the end of the day, right now, that's what the kids want to hear.
Right.
And it's just been a blessing. And Denver's one of the best markets in the world right now for live music. And I think some people take kind of our scene for granted. The number of shows that we have here supersedes a lot of big markets.
Crazy.
And, per capita, we're right up there with LA and New York City and Vegas as far as the amount of live music that comes to this town with Red Rocks and some of the great venues we have around the city. It's just it's a real blessing to be able to work in this town and keep bringing a lot of happiness and live music to people to enjoy every day.
Now you guys have really done a great job as far as being able to keep your brand strong just throughout the years. How have you been able to, what's the formula to that? Because I know a lot of different promoters, they pretty much just come and go. You'll see some people, they'll throw some parties or they'll try to bring, artists to the state or to the city, and it just seems like it just fizzles out. What's the formula to longevity?
I mean, persistence, never giving up, and luckily, like Francois said, we've been able to align ourselves with the company I work for now, AEG Live, AG Presents, and several other big nightclub owners over the years. We're cutting a lot of the checks for us to bring a lot of these acts out here in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But in the very beginning, we were losing our rent money to bring an act out here. Luckily, I had some good landlords, because you would lose your money. You'd lose your rent money paying a band or a rapper or a DJ to come out to the show, and the show wouldn't perform. And that's where a lot of promoters, they take a couple L's.
Yeah.
They can't keep taking L's, But at the end of the day, this business is about just making your win column a little bit higher than your L column, and just slowly moving that margin down to where you just get into the groove of just booking, winning parties, winning shows. And sometimes it's hard for people to ride that wave and not sink.
Right.
So
I mean, I'd say it's a passion. It's like it's a conviction. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like you running a marathon. It's like, I know I'm gonna make 25 miles at some point. I just can't stop. You know? And I mean, as Jonny attests to, we've had some good times and some bad times, but we love the music. We're comfortable in knowing that there's always a better day, and it's the culture, really. Going back to that, it's just like, this is what we do. This is just what we do. And some people lose interest and move on, or sometimes people take a bath and just be like, this is not the life for me. But you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, this is not easy. There's a lot of factors in this thing, from dealing with crazy artists to agents to managers to nightclubs, and like I said, it's difficult. So I've been blessed. I know he's been blessed to do it as long as we have, and we just
But like he said, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. A lot of people, I'm gonna book so and so, and we're gonna bring him out here and get this bag, and then you
Doesn't
see
work
that,
out like
you
that.
see that formula, and then once you've been in it as long as we have, that there's all these expenses that are gonna come up, and you plan for this. So really, people think they're gonna throw a show and it's gonna be a huge lick. But really, when you really look at the expenses, promoters, just like the restaurant business, you're only making 15 to 20%, of what you bring into the show. So by the time you pay the artist and all of your expenses to do it right, that's a big part about it too. If you throw a show, you better make sure the artist is happy and the fans are happy,
Right.
or you're going to get a bad reputation in the circle of the touring artist, which is a very small circle the higher you go in the pyramid. And if the fans don't have a good time, they're not going to trust your brand either. So it's all about our business is, we're really in the business of making artists and fans happy at the end of the day.
Right.
We want them to leave the building and say that was a great show, and we want to come back. So that's the long and short of it.
Work. Would you say that's one of the biggest mistakes new promoters make, is just thinking that they're just going to hop in and get that bag fast?
It's like you gotta, if you're gonna dive into this world, you gotta pay attention to detail and realize this is not a one time. You're not gonna make one show is not gonna change your life. You know what I mean? Because that one show could do really great, or that one show could tank. You gotta be ready to take the next show, and then you gotta be thinking in the future. So, but everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
I remember some of the first shows I booked, and
let's talk about those. The golden days.
Well, the Golden Days is different. I mean, just the business model of shows these days is different. You know, it's, you know, if you're looking at purely the concerts, you know, it's changed. You know, I used to work for Barry Fay, God rest his soul. Great man. He taught me a lot. You know, and that's who I always wanted to be coming up. And you know, it was funny. When I used to work for Barry, I used to go down into the basement and look at the old files, and you'd be shocked how cheap it was to book some of these artists that are like legends. You know, I mean, he used to do the Rainbow Room and stuff. I mean, it was buying a car to pay, you know, a superstar back in the day, and ticket prices were $5, you know, and crazy and stuff. You can't do that anymore, you know, and it's really about the dollar at the end of the day and surviving. And what happened was that a lot of the promoters got consolidated to two different factions, you know, basically Live Nation and AEG, and there's others out there. Right. But in order to survive, you really have to find another revenue stream besides just the door, and that means selling alcohol at your venues and stuff like that. I mean, it's doable to do it, but I mean, to be successful and really be, you know, play the game another day, you got to own your own venue and find other ways to make money, sell pizza at the front door, or something, you know, or, you know, put, I don't know, just.
That's big. You said own your own venue. That's major, but how realistic is that nowadays?
I'm just telling you what they do to survive. Now, if you want, you know, and plus they have a big war chest, you know, it's like Jonny said, it's not where you go in and you listen, actually, let me take that back. You can do one show and you can make a lot of money. Can that happen 3 or 4 times?
Right.
Let's just say, again, hypothetically it could. But 99% of the times, you're going to either break even or you're going to lose money. So it's not always a win, you know. And sometimes people get their first show or, you know, go out there and they'll make some money. And they're like, oh, I got this. Let me promote it for life.
Yeah.
So then you go and you do it, and it may be, you know, your rent money might be your savings, and you take a bath, you're like, I'm never doing this shit again. It'll humble you very, very fast.
So how has the change in the music industry as far as going from album sales more to just streaming and you know, we dealt with just free albums and people stealing music, and there was just this whole shift from physical copies, and now we're seeing sales pick back up. Has that affected the concert game at all?
Oh yeah. That's made the live side of the business the side where everybody wants to be right now, because at the end of the day, the labels don't make the money they used to make, and the artists are not seeing the same income level on album sales, like you said, because they're all streams now. So the touring side of their business is really a huge piece to that revenue stream.
So they probably charge more now, right? Or
they charge more, but they're also, artists are getting smarter about how they tour, about how they price their tickets, you know, doing VIP meet and greets, doing other, you know, the merch game is so crazy on the road right now. I was at the Pepsi Center the other night, and just walking around that place, watching the sales of these T-shirts. It was crazy. And even in the smaller venues, you know, like, artists need to get their merch game right, because especially as an upcoming artist on the road, a lot of the guarantees for an upcoming artist that nobody's really heard of are real low. If you're lucky enough to get a support slot on a tour, you're paying the bills to stay on the road by selling merch, selling CDs, really grinding on the road. You know, people think it's like fun and games, but at the end of the day, like, I watch artists like J. Cole and, you know, Kendrick and a lot of these really big acts start their careers playing 250 cap rooms, riding around in a dirty van, like, you know, and they were waiting on those T-shirt sales from the night before to pay for their gas money to get to the next city the next day. So like, that's the real hustle that goes into an artist coming from, you know, the bottom to really be able to make it and touch the whole country and touch all these different cities. You know, all these artists always ask me, like, you know, how can we get on the road? How can we do this? And it's just, you know, you have to really, at the end of the day, be willing to take that sacrifice of understanding nothing's going to come easy. Until you got a hit record and you got a fan base built that's going to come and buy your tickets to your show, promoters aren't paying the money, you're going to get on a support slot for a tour. You might have to buy on tour now, you know, or you're going to be playing hole in the wall rooms.
Right.
But that's the way everybody really starts. Unless you come out of the woodwork on a big hit, you know, and that's the way the quicker you come up, the faster you fall usually. It's the artists that have that long build of developing fan bases in different markets and really going out there and trying to touch different cities. That those are the people that like are putting in that grind and that work. Those sometimes, you know, it really pays off in a major way, and I've seen it happen on countless times.
So how much should you have to buy onto a tour if you're, you know, an up and coming artist?
I mean, you know, it can be anything these days. It's a wild
It depends on the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy onto most tours, I could say, depending on the artist.
But even then, it takes an in
Yeah.
to be able to be even in that circle to have that opportunity to buy onto it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
And it's
ballpark
cash
figure.
up front. It's not credit or I will pay you after the
Nightly.
tour. Yeah, you know.
So no, I've seen tours go. You know, people buy onto support slots on tours from anywhere like, you know, a small tour for like, you know, $10,000 to a larger tour for, you know, $100,000.
Okay, so 10 grand is on the small end.
Right, but that's playing with a much smaller artist. You know.
Right.
All right, since we're on the topic of artists, so say I'm a local artist. I just started making music. I got a cool little following, whatever. People like me. I want to start doing some shows. Hey, I seen Francois at the club. I want to approach Francois to put me on shows. Francois was like, "Get the fuck out of here, little guy."
No, hold on. Francois will never say that, first and foremost.
Then I go on Facebook and I'm bashing Francois because Francois didn't put me on. How should you properly handle that situation? If an artist that wants to get on these shows as an opener,
How much time do we have? Because this is a great question, but it has to be thorough because this is one of the questions that I think in this city alone, and in all other cities, but this is a major question that and an answer that people need to understand. I mean, let me start out like this. First and foremost, we have a responsibility. Jonny and I have a responsibility to make sure that the show it's a good show.
right?
You know, that means from doors open to door closed. We know that you're spending your money, and we want you to come in there and walk away and be like, God, I had a good time tonight.
Yeah.
Boom. That's the major thing, right? If you are a new artist, there's no problem why you shouldn't shoot for the stars. But what I would suggest is start small. You know, even as a promoter. If you became a promoter today, don't think you're going to book Kendrick Lamar tomorrow. It's not going to happen. If you are an artist in Denver, start small. There's a lot of venues out there. There's a lot of promoters out there doing things. Get out there and hone your craft. And even before you do that, practice. Go to Rocket Space. It's only $15 to $30 an hour. Go in there and practice how you hold a microphone, how you do your set. Make sure your DJ is knows what he's doing. Coordinate how you move on the stage. Make sure you have wave files when you perform at a show. Don't have 128 bit rate on one record, 98 on another record, 320. You sound crazy, right?
Right.
And then the next thing I'd say is probably just be patient. Patient. You can. There's a lot of people that hit me all the time, and I listen to all the music. I listen to everything because I want to know what's going on in the city.
Right.
But with that, there's a waiting list. I mean, we can't put everybody on shows.
But it's also important to say though, even when the artist calls us and says, okay, we want to add some local support to the show, Swan and I talk about it, and then we submit those names with SoundCloud links, Facebook links, Twitter links, all your socials, and that goes to the artist.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, Swan and I can only suggest what acts we think would have a similar sound that would curate a nice show and round out the package. But at the end of the day, we send those acts to the headliner, and the manager or the agent of the headliner listens to those acts and either agrees or disagrees with us, and then their next question is always, how many tickets can they sell?
I was just about to get into that because here's the business aspect of it, right?
Right.
So like Jonny said, there's a process in it. There's some venues out here that don't need to, or the headliner might say, hey, just put somebody on. They don't give a shit. But usually it goes from us to the agent to the management. They decide what they want to do. Does it fit the show?
Right.
How they sound like? How's their socials look? They come back to say yay or nay. The next thing is selling tickets. Now, here's a really important thing that people have to understand. It's called show business.
Right.
So in the beginning of this, we talked about just your basic performance. When you get on stage, since you're not selling major records anymore and streaming and all stuff, the next thing, best thing, as Jonny had said earlier about the shows, is putting your best performance on there. Right?
Right.
No, I just lost my train of thought.
Show business.
The business.
Oh,
Because
so
they're asking us how many tickets
Right.
are these acts worth, and that's what I don't think a lot of artists understand is when it's called support, you're supporting the headliner.
Right.
So supporting the headliner doesn't mean you're just going to come with your homies to the show that night and put on a good show. The definition of support is what kind of crowd are you going to bring to the show?
Right.
And the only way to really prove that is how many tickets can you go out and personally sell for the show. So a lot of people always look at me and Swan and say, well, a lot of artists, well, we don't want to sell tickets. Well, then we don't want to have you on the show because at the end of the day, you're supporting 2 Chainz. You're supporting Ice Cube. You're supporting this act that's playing our venue, and they're asking for support on the show, and that word carries meaning. The word support means you're going to bring something to the table other than your performance, and that means you're going to bring your fan base to the show. So at the end of the day, we do ask artists to sell tickets when we put them on shows.
I think that was,
Let me just jump one more time.
Yeah.
So social media doesn't really mean shit at some of the days. Like you can have a bunch of numbers like Twitter and all this stuff. You can be on social media.
You
and
can
say,
buy those numbers.
Yeah, well, you can have social media and say you're the greatest rapper of all times. That's great. But this is why you want to sell tickets because of the business part of it, right? Because you want to put, and I tell everybody, and I'm sure everybody that's going to watch this will be like, damn, this motherfucker say this all the time. You want to put a number to your name. And it's important because it gets you more shows. It also puts perspective really where you really are in your career. So if you come to us and you say, oh, I'm dope and I got all this and all that stuff, and we give you a shot, which we want to give you a shot, we're only going to ask to start with is 50 tickets, right?
Right.
So if we have to just say 3 openers and the other 2 sell tickets and you don't, then it becomes also a issue of like who should go first, go second, stuff. We're giving to the person that sold the most tickets.
right.
But also, after all that stuff, say you sell 50 tickets at a certain ticket price, and you go to another venue or you come back, we say, hey, you know what, Graffiti, you sold 50 tickets at $20.
Right.
You're worth something at that point. This is the show business.
Right.
You are worth X amount of dollars.
Right.
That's good for us.
And it's good for you too.
Yeah,
Right.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you don't want to be an opening act your whole life.
Right.
So that's why we
Right.
are trying to encourage acts in Denver.
Add to your resume.
Like, okay, you guys can sell to your fan base. We gave you 50 tickets, you came back and gave us the money, and went and got another 50 tickets and sold those tickets. Now you're worth 100 tickets at the box office because 100 people want to see you.
Yeah.
Now you got to ask yourself, do 100 people of my fans want to see me, or how much is that related to like the opening, to the headliner? But then we start looking at like, okay, you got a vibe. Why don't we start putting you on a headlining show? And that's where it changes, because even if you're opening up for a huge act and you're selling all these tickets, at the end of the day, you're not making that much money. It's a $250, $200 guarantee.
Right.
Important.
But if you can come to us and say we can sell 500 tickets and sell out the Bluebird, like acts like Trev Rich and A-Meezy, and you look at Top Flight, they're selling out the Gothic. Trev just sold out the Gothic. These guys are leaving with a nice check.
Right.
Because I'm not paying 2 Chainz that night. It's all Trev Rich's money that night. It's all A-Meezy's money that night. Ray Reed just put up a Bluebird solo show. So at the end of the day, artists are starting to realize opening for shows is great because you're introducing your craft to a new audience. But once you have that audience and that fan base, especially in your hometown, that's where you have to start really mining that money from that fan base.
Right.
And doing your own headlining show. And that's when you walk out of the venue with a really fat check instead of $200 because it's your show. You just went and sold 500 tickets at $20.
Right.
So do the math on that.
It's the hustle and the
you know
footwork,
you're going to
though.
make the majority of that money.
Yeah.
And I think indie artists, sometimes they're too proud to want to sell tickets or ask people to buy tickets. And at the end of the day, that's what
the name
that's
of the
what
game.
2 Chainz is trying to do. That's
Right.
what Young Jeezy is trying to do. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to sell something. So
Well,
artists
I
can't
think it's also kind of smoke and mirrors type thing too. Is I think that the social media can gas you sometimes. You know, if you make a post, new record out and stuff like that, and you get 100, 260 shares and stuff, you're like, I'm popping, man, I'm popping, woo!
Yeah.
And then, you know, you come over here and you say, okay, you can open up for a 2 Chainz or somebody, sell 50 tickets.
Can't do it.
And you come back with 5. There's the disconnect there. It doesn't
Right.
make sense, you know? And so it means that you have to work harder and find those fans that want to come support you. And so if you say, okay, I'm ready for a headline, we're not going to put you in the Ogden. Like, let's start somewhere small. Let's build your fan base. Let's go to Lost Lake, Larimer Lounge.
Right.
Before we go to the Bluebird and next on and next on and next on. So it's a process. You know, we keep talking about
But
this
for
marathon.
artists asking, how do we make more than just this $200 you're offering us to open up for a big act? Do you have a fan base that you can motivate and that's going to come out and see you?
Mm.
And how many of them are there? And we'll find a room that makes sense for you, and you can start building your own headlining history.
Right.
And that's what we call what you're worth at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's all we're really concerned about. And has nothing to do. We always listen to the music, but I book a lot of music I don't listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of garbage music that I have to book
Yeah, that's
every
real.
day that's going to sell out. It doesn't necessarily mean that I don't, what I mean? Just because I don't go home and listen to it at my house doesn't mean I'm not going to book it.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to serve a fan base. I'm here to serve the artist fan base. So if there's people that want to come and hear this music, I want to serve all the audiences.
Right.
And that's why, I don't really, if I only booked the music I liked, I'd book 4 or 5 shows a year. You know what I mean?
That's real.
So at the end of the day, it's like, it's not about the music we like. It's about how many tickets is the artist worth, and let's make a fair deal. And that's what we do every day. So I will do that with local acts every day. And so, well, Francois, if you think you can, bring your crowd out and you want a stage to play and you're going to sell those tickets and you're going to, motivate your fan base to come out, we're going to book a room for you.
So how do you know what artists to bring to Denver just based off of just the demographic? Because there's bigger names that sometimes don't sell out, and then you'll have an artist like Ugly God or an artist like XXX Temptation come through and know
Tentacion now.
Tentacion.
Tentacion, we got to get his name right.
All right.
But it's okay. It's okay. He's not. That's a funny story. That's a funny story, that kid, because he came out of the woodwork, and this is another one. It's like, do I ever go home and listen to that?
Yeah.
No. But do I know in my heart when I see the numbers and I see how excited kids are about it, and I look at this kid's, just whole vibe, and I knew it was gonna pop. And
Right.
they wanted to go into a smaller room, and I was like, no, we need to put this into this room because it's gonna sell out, and this kid is gonna do the numbers. And he's asking for ladders to jump off the stage into the crowd. We had
Right.
security holding him so he wouldn't jump off the balcony into the crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is the stuff we have to deal with sometimes. It's like, we want to make the artist happy, but we got to keep the crowd safe.
Yeah.
We don't want this dude stage diving off the balcony, but
Elbow dropping somebody in the dome. Yeah.
He's nuts.
But with that though, like to get to Dave's point, I feel like, and not to just keep speaking locally, but there's this thing in Denver. A lot of people are like, oh, well, this doesn't work in this market. How is that determined? Especially nowadays, I feel like that border's been kicked down with the internet.
yeah, I mean,
It's different, again, it's a little bit intuition and feeling, and then research. I mean, you can look up a lot of different things, and the thing about it too, though, is, to be honest, is that because you work in a big company like that, a lot of people in different regions talk together. And you want somebody in LA or New York wants Denver to do it. He's like, yo, there's a kid that just blew out this thing here. He just sold 10,000 tickets.
we all talk around the different cities. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm saying this is really popping here, and then I'm getting feedback. It might not be popping in other regions, but at the end of the day, I want to take a swing at whatever I think is white hot and bubbling. If it looks like that to me, I'm going to take a swing, and that's where we're in the gambling business of,
Right.
We
Social
gotta
media
spread
too.
the chips around the numbers. And, we don't always win. Like he said, sometimes
Yeah.
we leave the club with our heads down.
Right.
We thought it was a, hey man,
We thought it was a winner. This thing's gonna do great,
Nah.
But at the end of the day, it's all about also looking at I get look. I grew up on the classics. You know what I mean? So hip hop to us at our age,
Right.
really. This means something. This is this is real rhymes and
Yeah.
real beats. And then we get into the place where I'm 31 years old now, and I have to saying, okay, it's not about what I like. It's about what does this 17-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid want to hear.
Right.
And I get haters on my page all the time from the classic hip hop heads saying, "You're really booking this guy. You're selling out."
Right.
And I said, "You're damn right. I'm selling out. I'm selling the show out."
You're right. That's where the cash is
At the end of the day, you want to hear all the classics,
Mm.
but you're the first person to call me to ask to get on the guest list for the older shows.
Yeah.
And I want to keep bringing back the older music, and that's always going to be a big piece of who I am. Like, I'm going to keep supporting classic, real hip hop, no
Yeah.
matter what.
It's a business at the end of the day.
But it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
And at the end of the day, I gotta serve the audience,
Mm-hmm.
and the audience is not just you anymore. It's these young kids that want to come out and hear shows, and whether I like the music or not, I'm gonna book the shows.
Right. That's a good segue into my next question. Let's get nostalgic for a minute.
Yeah.
Because you guys have been doing this for so long, each of you. What was the biggest, or not even the biggest, but your most proud show? Like, damn, we did that one. From a fan perspective, business, whatever, it's just like, damn, I love that one. You do a lot of fucking shows, but it's like,
I think one of my best one, and I think it was just because it was the tour ended here, this goes back, is the Up in Smoke tour. They did 2 nights here, and it was like, first it went up, and it blew out. So they added another one, and it was a tour, the end of the tour ended in Denver. And so it was like, for that magnitude to do 2 nights at Fiddler's Green, and just those guys were in here. So not only did we do the concert and it was crazy, but it was like, it was M and Dr. Dre and Snoop and DPG.
Fire line.
I think Exhibit was there and everything, and it was
crazy.
so cool because the night before they got in town, the night before the concert, they actually, right downtown here, it used to be called Taboo. So we did a party, a pre-party with these guys, and they just came through. Dre and everybody. I know somebody out there has the footage.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Yeah,
but
send that to us.
because I think Exhibit is a friend of mine, so he wanted to do the after party. So it was just Exhibit, but the entire tour showed up from Dre to Snoop to everybody, and they got on stage and everybody did a song. It was nuts, like crazy. And then we did an after party, a tour rap party with Dr. Dre. And I still have that picture of me and Alvin and them. And so they did bowling lanes over there at Monaco.
yeah.
So they rented it out.
This is all in Denver, by the way.
Yeah. yeah. And so they rented it out, and it was a private party with the entire tour. So this is just a behind the scenes story. So they had me take a back room and put curtains on it because they want to put private strippers back there
At the bowling alley.
at the bowling alley. And we had to coordinate all this, so I had to tell the bowling alley, like, yo, they want a stripper room back here so they can bowl a couple of get some lap dances here. But it was great. Like, it was great to just hang out with all those guys who are now legends, and and just they were very relaxed and hung out, and that was probably one of the best.
What about you, Johnny?
Best hasn't happened yet,
Oh.
but I'll tell you, it's about to. August 10th, Tribe Called Quest, Red Rocks.
Oh. Okay.
Out of all the shows I've ever worked on in my life, that's one I'm really proud of.
New show alert.
It's already
Sold out.
It's already
Sold out alert.
Sorry.
Damn, so
I'm really excited about Tribe at Red Rocks. That's one of the most legendary venues in the world, and to have Tribe come, this is probably going to be the last time they ever tour. And Fife's gone now, but
Word.
I'm really excited about that one. In most recent memory, my favorite show I've done in a while was the Erykah Badu on Valentine's Day last
That was
year.
dope. That was a dope show.
Because she usually plays really, really, really big venues, and I booked her at the Ogden on Valentine's Day. It was a steep ticket price, it was like a $70 ticket or something, but it sold out. And she put on one of the best shows I've ever seen her do in Denver.
That was fun. That was a good
and it was
show.
Valentine's Day, and
Just the vibes.
So
Right?
everybody
the
got
vibe
some
was
cutty
right.
that
It was like that.
But they don't make shows like they used to anymore.
See, I was about to ask you that. Just seeing it from behind the scenes and then from a fan's perspective, is it the same? I mean,
Back in the day, a lot
Oh,
of
come on.
artists used to collab.
just
Like,
stop
Come on,
that old head
disagree
shit.
on that.
no, I'm saying about if you talk about touring. Back in the day, they take the hottest artists and they all go tour. Like you think about Smoking Grooves at Red Rocks. Come on, I mean that's the Roots.
Tour.
That's Roots, Outkast, and who else was on that? All kinds of people. Then look at the Jay-Z Rough Riders tour back in the day. Like those were classic moments that you'll never see again.
I don't know about
Okay.
that.
Well,
it's all relative.
So you're gonna tell me Ugly God, Little Yachty.
I got
that to them.
I kind of got to agree.
I'm not saying this.
But
I'm just saying it's funny.
The Inaudible tour.
It's relative though.
The what?
Because
The
at the end
Inaudible
of
tour.
Right.
No, I agree with Johnny on that because as a young guy, like if you take an 18-year-old and you show them the lineup for like the Rolling Loud tour, where it was like every fucking mumble rapper and we had ever, because I can name everybody, like that shit's lit.
No, I'm
to
saying
them, you know what I mean?
I'm saying it's great, but I'm saying at that time, and I'm gonna just say that I think there was a different status. Look, you had Jay-Z, DMX at that time, Ja Rule, who else? Meth and Red on one show, touring arenas around the country.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that these younger guys now aren't just as dope. I'm just saying I don't know if the stature at that time was the same.
Right.
But I also feel like show business is like a drug too.
Yeah.
So like, back then we were really happy with just the rappers on the stage with the mic or in the rave culture. You didn't even know who the DJs were. It was just the name of a rave party, and you would go to the party, and it was about the vibe. And now, technology has changed.
Right.
The way people experience these live situations has changed. So now you got to have who has the best lights, who has the best lasers, who has the best visuals, you know what I mean? Because there's going to be so many more elements added as time has passed. It's not just a microphone and a band or a microphone and a DJ on stage anymore. It's now about like the production aspect of it.
Right.
Tory Lanez is risking his life like every night.
Right. He's jumping around, but more like the production. Like these guys are spending so much money. You saw Kanye walking around that ramp, and Drake.
For the
balls are dropping.
Yeah.
Like it's people are putting on shows now. Yeah. And the way that show business has changed is these production elements have been added to really give people a show. This is not just a microphone on the stage anymore. This is a real life experience, and I think that's what's changed.
I would agree. I totally agree.
And that's why seeing a show now is more exciting than it was back then.
I agree.
So
I agree. It's a different time.
What about behind the scenes of it all? Dealing with the artists, dealing with the groupies.
Same shit, different day. Nothing's ever gonna change.
Nah.
And don't hate on groupies. I'm just saying now.
I didn't even bring it up this time.
I'm just letting you know. They make the world go around. They make the artists happy.
No, they don't.
Except.
We got some issues here. It is flagrant and blatant.
Yeah, y'all got a beef with a particular unnamed groupie, right?
Yeah. It's not really a beef, but at the end of the day,
She's throwing bars at y'all.
I told her, I was like, you could just be back here like a regular ass chick that's back here like all the rest of them.
Normal groupie.
But you want to like take pictures and call the cops, and that to me that's like where I say, okay, now
You cross the line.
you cross the line.
Right. So it's such
Because at the end of the day, it's like
social
I
media.
want artists to come to Denver and leave here with a really, really, really big smile on their face and say, I want to come back to Denver. And sometimes having some beautiful women around for them is a great piece of them leaving with a big smile on their face. But when that situation turns into a situation where A, it could be a security risk, B, personal information, stuff's getting exposed that is completely, out of line just for somebody else to build themselves up, and C, you're calling the police on people, that's where I say, I don't want you around my environment, I don't want you around my artists, because, if I can't at least give you a fair warning, like, this is not a situation you really want to involve yourself with, because I've seen it happen a million times, and I've warned multiple artists about it. And then they call me the next day like, man, you were right. Why didn't we listen to you?
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's super predator.
it's a difference. It's a difference between just trying to have a good time with somebody and, it's a part of the business.
And there's actual
sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But at the end of the day, once that turns into something that could compromise your freedom, your money, your reputation, your marriage. I've watched it happen over and over. All these different situations be affected by one person's actions. It's like, I don't want you around.
And there's actual like posters like don't let this person in.
Oh, even before we've warned artists sometimes, it's come from the tour. You know, signs up. And it's like, you know, do you want that reputation or do you want the reputation of, you know, everybody loves me because I got a great personality and, you know, I'm really nice and whatever else you're doing behind closed doors, that's none of my business, but girls, do you.
Like that's whole into a next
But
level.
at the end of the
That's
day,
the
it's
next
like,
level.
why do you have to make
Yeah,
it
that's what I'm
malicious?
saying.
Once it turns malicious,
Yeah.
and like I was sitting in the studio and with an unnamed artist and, you know, on the door, and we go answer the door and there's 15 cops outside. And it's like, you know, this has gotten to a point where it's like, you know, nobody's lying on somebody's name, you know, freedoms. That's a whole new situation. And that's why I just really want to put it out there, like, you know, like I'm all about everybody having what they want to do,
Yeah.
you know, free love and all that stuff. But if you're gonna really disrespect people that are really at the end of the day here to do business,
Yeah.
when I show up to a show, he and I are there to do business. When the artist shows up to the show, we're there to do business. So once you have somebody that really takes that and twists it into a whole new way, it's like, nah.
Would you guys say this particular super groupie is one
Super Saiyan groupie.
Super Saiyan groupie guy is like one of the worst?
No. Listen, over the years I've seen.
Because I was around with Cat Stacks, and we know how that went.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, these are like extreme examples. Like
Yeah.
usually, and like I don't even know if it's a groupie thing. Maybe it's a fancy. Because you know what? If Rihanna was backstage and she winked at me and I got to, hey man, I'm going
Risk
in.
it all.
Actually put me on TNT. with
Right,
that,
right,
you know what I'm saying? But no, but listen,
It's
man.
completely different.
Right, it's completely
different.
People,
When you want to take it to the next level of, I'm doing this, not, I mean, obviously, look, you're going to go get on the bus with Ugly God. Okay?
Yo, y'all seen Ugly God's girlfriend though?
Water.
What?
Y'all seen Ugly God's girlfriend though?
Oh.
No, how she look?
Man, she's bad.
Listen, man.
Yes, we can
Listen,
say
if
that.
you don't like,
And I think she's from Denver too.
See?
I wouldn't surprise me.
No, it's funny. There's a lot of
Denver has some beautiful women like
Denver
that.
has some beautiful
I was gonna
women.
say,
There's a
please
lot
steer
of
that the
rappers
right
with
way,
baby
'cause-
moms in Denver.
No,
Like there's several
he like
high
most of
profile rappers over the years that have babies moms in Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they probably got babies moms in every city, but I'm just telling you, it's Denver.
That's just a small part of the music business,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
the after hours and after hotels and so on and so forth.
Okay.
For people
Trying to
not
look like
watching on
Kylie.
video but are listening, Davey just handed the phone. They are looking at Ugly God's girlfriend.
She's looking like
Critiquing her.
She's looking like Kylie, kinda.
Oh. Hey, sis,
They got
Profile, Kylie profile.
right
I don't know.
on.
I need to see if
Your
I need
music
to-
is trash.
I need to
but
see the whole.
But that's one part of the music
Yeah.
business that, you
It's the
know,
whole package.
you reap the benefits. Shoot, you got a good album, good song, who cares? Go for it.
Go for it.
So aside from the concert side of things, what about the party promotion side of things? How has that game changed over the years? Because right now it seems shaky. I don't know if people just aren't into
He's not gonna
clubs
like
the way
this,
they
but
are.
well, he's diversified his portfolio, so
Uh-huh.
that's why he's
That's
saying
why I
the
asked
concerts
this.
and the clubs.
That's why I definitely have to ask that part.
Because, you know, it's like, at the end of the day, the concerts run the whole scene in Denver right now. And I think that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of the situation is, I'm going to let him speak on it because he's the club guy. But watching it from the time I started coming up in this scene, I was 18 years old, sneaking into reggae on the roof on Thursday night.
Same here.
And, you know,
That was crazy.
that was when the Denver club scene, people understood how to, it was like Atlanta or New York or LA, like people acted right most of the time, like people dressed up, you know, girls wearing good, you know, dresses and like looking real good.
I mean, you
And
know,
then all of a sudden,
Shit got ratchet.
it's like, it's just not the same vibe anymore.
I would disagree. I mean, I think just the club scene is always evolving. It's just kind of like music, you know. And I think that
I don't know, man.
Wait, hold on.
I
I
don't
think
know.
Denver goes through its periods of times to where it's, you know, when we talk about Safari and we talk about Reggae on the Roof. I mean, it was just when the city's a little bit in sync. The ball players, everybody's in sync, like the NBA and and Broncos, they get along, they hang out, everybody's out. It was a good time, you know. And I think what also happened though is, you know, to keep it 100, I think this city is its own worst enemy. We could be in Atlanta, New York, especially with a weed now, we could be light years. But you know, it takes one bad apple to ruin it for everybody, and that's just the way it is. You know.
Well, it was a few over the years.
it was a bunch of them, but they, you know, I think you know Epernay has done an exceptionally good job of keeping the nightlife around. You know, we approve, but you know also the nightlife, the super clubs. There's not that many in Denver.
Right.
A lot of the clubs have gone away altogether. They've turned into lounges and bars.
Yeah.
The bar scene has really taken over Denver. There's not a lot of places that, you know, if you just talk about urban stuff, that want urban shit, and I'm not mad at them about it. But it evolves, you know. Sometimes we have 4 or 5 things going on, and sometimes we have one.
And I think, and it's a good thing that you brought that up about the bars and the lounges and stuff. I don't know if it's just because I'm older now and I'm partied out because y'all like used to kill me and shit. But now it's like,
yeah, I'm washed.
yeah. I think we're washed. But just as a whole, it seems like people aren't into clubbing the way they are.
Absolutely.
Right. And like even like my siblings,
That's why
like when they turn 21,
that's why I said
they
the
don't wanna
concert
go to the
business
club.
is really it's a great business to be in right now because I think kids, and when I say kids, I mean like 18 to 29, or even older. But these kids would rather not spend a $15 or $20 cover at a club to go see a local DJ. They'd rather put that money away for 2 weeks and go buy a $40 ticket to go see their favorite artist coming to play next week. And that's going to get them more lit and more turned up and more live and feel better about going out. And like you said, the culture has like turned into a place where I'd rather just go up the street to this bar with my friends and have a few drinks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is great, but at the end of the day, it's also...
But kids are more diverse too, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think Denver is a very segregated city, and it's a black and white city. But I think the younger crowd
I disagree with that.
I think the younger crowd is more diverse now. Like they want a little bit of everything, you know. And I think you see that in music, EDM and hip hop have come together.
Well, then it's not a black and white city then.
No, I'm talking about.
What you just said.
Argue about it.
You just said it got more diverse. So that doesn't
I'm
mean
talking
they're
about
more
the crowd.
separated.
No, I'm talking about the
because
crowd.
back in the day, I used to be the only white guy in the club.
No, I know.
Now I go to a lot of clubs where it's like a real nice mixed vibe.
Everybody's light skinned.
No, what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. There are neighborhood associations out here. There are club owners out here that do not want quote unquote urban shit in there. It's a fact.
That's true.
There's a fact, and there's some club owners that love the music. They just don't understand the urban culture, how we continue to fuck it up, and that's a fact. Like, I don't as a nightclub promoter, I have never woken up any morning and say I want to go do a nightclub. Neither has Kevin or Alvin. Woke up and say, we're gonna do a club tonight to get somebody injured, hurt, arrested, or killed. It's never happened. The only reason why we ever do nightclubs is because we wanted to fill the void that we don't have.
Right.
And we wanted to make it like a New York or LA, to where you go into a club and you see a superstar here, you do that. That was the only goal of the original thing of 3D, But it just happened that, over the years, Denver, you have a beef with somebody from 3rd grade, you come to the club, you have too much fucking Hennessy, and then you end up beating somebody up, or even, there's a shooting, not even at the club, there's a shooting 2-3 blocks away, but great media will say, oh, there was a shooting at such and such club.
Right.
Wait, that happened 5 blocks away. How's that, our fault? Like, so there's a lot of dynamics. I could go on for hours about the bullshit goes on in Denver.
People get shot at schools. People get shot at movie theaters.
You can't do
that.
I
will do that because that's what I'm going to do. And at the end of the day, look.
Speak on it, Johnny. Go ahead.
Our job is to make everybody have the best safe time we can.
I agree.
And that's why when you walk into one of our shows, they're going to look in your bag. And you're going to walk through a metal detector, and you're going to know when you come and party in any one of our situations, it's going to be a safe environment.
Mm-hmm. But if it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
No.
No.
What I'm saying is, all I'm trying to say is, like, because right around the corner, Cold Crush, this is like my Cheers.
Yeah.
Like, I love that place. I'm in there. I go there sometimes after work. I go there on the weekends, and that's a place like right now where I would honestly say like I can go on a Friday or Saturday night, and there's black people, there's white people, there's Mexican people, there's all types of people,
Right.
all dancing on a dance floor having a great time, and still to this day, because it's a hip hop bar, and because there's been some situations that have happened there, and now all of a sudden that place is being targeted, and I have a problem with that because you can't target a place. Is the Aurora movie theater still open? Yeah, it is.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, bad stuff happens in all different cultures, in all different environments. Whether it's a club, a movie theater, a school, this shit's happening at the grocery store. Like, we have to hold the line and say to ourselves, these places are important because I don't want it to be like a black and white situation in Denver. And gentrification will eventually make that happen if we don't protect these spaces that we can all come together and enjoy music that brings us together.
Talk about it.
Okay?
That's real.
I mean,
So that's what's important right now. And you see it happening in Chicago, and you see it happening in certain places where
culture.
they're taking the inner city
Yeah.
and they're coming and gentrifying it. So now all of a sudden everybody's going to be forced into these smaller areas and combined together. And that's where you see a pressure cooker, because you're forcing all these different gangs and people that have beefs that were spread across a whole city. Now in Chicago, they're all living in the same apartment buildings. They're all living, and that's what's going to happen in Denver.
Right.
We have to protect these spaces where we can all come and party together, and we have to hold the line and say, this is something that's important to us. So
Right.
at the end of the day, I love throwing. This is why I like the shows, because I feel like that's filling the void of the clubs.
Absolutely.
In the place where we can say, this is a place we can all come together and enjoy something, a musician, bands, whatever, that brings us all together. And let's do that in a safe place and enjoy that and protect that. Because that's Denver right now is one of the hottest cities in the country.
Let me just.
It really is.
Listen,
Denver is one of the hottest
No, I'm not
cities
saying
in the
this,
country.
but listen. I think we can sit here and we can talk about the problems Denver has, but you know what? I'm going to tell you what the solution is.
Okay.
And the solution is to realize, one, Denver is a major city. Denver is not a cow town. Denver is not a little, town business and all that stuff. That's cool, but we are a major city right now.
Yeah, right.
Like, I just drove down here, and I knew they were building stuff here, but they are really building some shit. Like, it's like Metropolis downtown right now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. With all these people, if we're going to be a major city, let's treat it. You cannot close clubs at 1:30, 1:45 and push all these people into the streets and say, get home. It's impossible. I've thought about this over the years. I was talking to our state representative, Crisanta Duran, who's a good friend of mine, and there was at one point there was a bill on the floor to keep the bars and clubs open in Denver. And I went to a meeting one time in Denver in a neighborhood association. There were some 67-year-old people sitting there talking about they didn't want this, they didn't want that. One, you live downtown.
Right.
Two, we're talking about making sure people are safe, that people get home safely, all that stuff. You cannot push all these people out at the same time in the street.
And they're drunk.
Right.
Even
if they left it open until 3:30 or 4, at least like in other cities where the liquor licenses have the same rule, people kind of. Right now, you guys see the lines at the clubs that are still there. People show up at 11:30, 12 o'clock. There's a line around the block. Everybody gets shit faced in the club, and then the club pushes everybody else out on the street at 2 in the morning. Everybody has to leave at the same time. So that automatically increases the likelihood of some static happening because everybody's out there at the same time. If people could just kind of flow out and leave at their own pace.
I mean, really,
I think we should do that. We should start lobbying for a 4
I'm with
a.m.
it.
liquor.
What is last call?
LA did it.
What is last call alcohol mean?
Let's do it.
What does last call alcohol mean? It means
Go to shotguns.
No, it says get ready to
Go to
start. Go.
shotguns.
Do at least 2 or 3 shots before you can't drink anymore, right?
Yeah.
We all just human beings. Like this is corny, but we all make mistakes. We all will always make mistakes. You cannot, as a human species, expect we're going to be perfect.
Right.
So let's think about that and let's say, you know what? People are going to drive home drunk at 2 o'clock, whatever. But if you give some people extra time to just sober up, cool down. If I'm warring with you and you leave, I may see a girl, I may stay an extra 20 minutes. That means when we walk out in the front, we're not going to bump into each other and continue the bullshit, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna see her do.
Is this live?
No.
Oh, all right.
Well,
That was I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
The mirror about to kick it
But
in
I'm
out.
watching you right now.
I won't have to lie about where I am right now.
No.
Anyways, man, but
Hey, dang, Johnny turned red. and
yeah,
shit.
he was like, damn, I got caught.
He's like,
Nobody
"Ooh,
snapped
I'm
you.
glad. No, edit that out then.
No, but I'm very passionate about it,
Yeah.
and like I said, I've been to a couple meetings because it's really pissed me off about the nightclub scene as well as just the urban scene, how we got a black eye, and I've always tried to figure out what could we do different, and I think that's
One of the later
But you
ones.
know what I want to say real quick though? Sure. Fuck all the black eyes and all the bullshit that's happening in this town. I think we have to really appreciate the culture and where
Absolutely.
the city of Denver is, because 10 years
Oh,
ago,
Yeah,
when I was fucking just had turned 21 years old, this place was still a fucking cow town.
yeah.
And now we really have a city to be proud of.
Mm.
There's artists breaking in every genre right now,
Yeah.
and like it's only a matter of time before somebody from Denver is going to break in a really, really meaningful and big way on a national level.
Mm.
So
That's
all
real.
of this that's happening in this town right now, from the weed to everybody being mad about the rent prices going up, these are all signs of our city is now really on the map, and we have to embrace that and all come together and say to ourselves, how do we accelerate what's already organically happening in our town and come together and say, how can we really bring some synergy between what everybody's doing
Ooh, word of the day.
out here,
Synergy.
okay? Synergy, get on, look it up.
no, I
And
think
for real,
No,
because
it-
we have to take pride on, no matter what's happened,
Mm.
you know, maybe the club scene has died off a little bit because
No, it's
people don't know how
it's
to.
cracking.
It's cracking, but okay,
Yeah.
it's cracking. But I'm saying it's not like it used to be, bro.
No, I
We
get it, I
remember
get it.
the glory days
But
of this town.
I do
man.
remember that. I was there.
Okay,
I
I was
mean,
there,
a lot of
too.
it's a blur, but
Right.
I do remember I
Okay.
was there at some point.
Okay, but what
We're
I'm
gonna
saying
leave. We're gonna
is,
leave you alone about the club part, man.
regardless,
No,
Check it out,
this
though.
town is a cultural
It is.
mecca right now. Whether
It's
you're in the
booming.
tech industry, whether you're in the weed industry, whether
Right.
you're in the music industry,
Mm.
there are so many opportunities in this town right now, and I don't want to hear from anybody else anymore about why Denver's not
Talk to
popping.
him, Johnny.
Because you know what? Hold on. I got so many people
He's in
fucking
his-
moving to
he's in
Denver.
his
You know
zone
why
right
the
now.
rent's
Let's go.
Hold on.
Let's do it.
You know why the
Talk
rent's
to
going
him.
up?
Talk
Tom?
to him, Johnny.
You know why the rent's
Talk
going
that
up?
shit.
Because everybody wants to move to Denver. I got people from cities all over the country. I travel all the time. They're like, you know, my homegirl just moved to Denver. He just moved to Denver. I want to move to Denver. Well, quit moving to Denver.
No, let me just say one thing real quick. Another important thing I just want to bring up, and we can move on, is that we can talk again about all the problems and things, but it's personal responsibility, Dan.
Mhm.
You know what? If you know you're not supposed to drink Hennessy, it turns you into a gremlin at midnight. Do not drink fucking Hennessy.
Right.
But also, you know, if you go out with your boy and you know that he's a hothead or something like that, and you may bump into somebody you had again beef with third grade, don't bring him out.
I know, but that's little shit, though. But that's little
No, I'm
shit.
saying-
Listen, what I'm trying to say is about the big shit. Which is, if
Talk
you
about
are
big
that
shit, buddy.
hothead in the club, acting like a hothead, take some ownership. That you don't live in a cow town anymore.
That's what I'm saying. That's my
You live in a city that everybody wants to move to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be in Denver right now because of the lifestyle we live. We live in a clean city.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the mountains every day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Got good
We have a
movies.
good culture.
Good groupies.
We got great culture. We got weed.
Yeah.
We got everything you could ask for here, and that's why everybody wants to move here.
Word.
So take some pride and some respect.
Everybody
in
listening
saying,
outside is like,
Beautiful.
Like, you
Beautiful
know,
women.
that's just how I feel.
Dark
I
hair.
also feel sometimes we become complicit and we become, like, we take it for granted where we live.
We do.
You know what I mean?
I totally
And there's
agree
so
with
many people that want to come here
right.
and enjoy what we have in this town. And it's like, when we go out at night, let's act like we have some, you know what I mean?
Common
Because
sense.
we are the new LA. Denver is the new LA right now.
That's real. We got Johnny in his pocket, man, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it on that note. But final question for both of you guys.
Sure.
All right. One piece of knowledge, advice, just a word, proverb, whatever you got in your mind that you would leave with the world, what would that be?
Ooh, I got so many mantras and stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. I could leave you with a gazillion because each one affects somebody different. But I just say, I'm gonna just do because a cliche. So just be a good person. Just like really in this day and age, and craziness and music, just try to be the best person as you can. Like extend your hand sometimes, say thank you.
Right.
Those are just simple things I always fall just to make sure that I know that at the end of the day that that things are going to be good. Meditate a little bit on things. Take a 30-second breather and just before you go and say something or do something, just be like, how is that going to affect somebody or myself? Am I going to look crazy? And I think that's a lot of problems with social media now. People are just like, I'm just going to fire this off and let it run so I can get likes and stuff. It's like, did you really need to say that?
Right.
About that person or about yourself? Pipe down a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Be
Overall.
That's real zen.
Yeah. What you got, Johnny?
I don't know. My
I'm still ready
advice,
to keep going.
my advice would just be, there's been times in my life where I really wanted to give up, and I did a couple times. I went and sold used cars. Shout out Lynn Lyle Chevrolet over there on Colfax. Go east and pay the lease.
That's it.
There was a time I went and sold used Chevys for about 6 months because the music business kind of had me rinsed, and I was just like,
I remember that.
I was like, what am I going to do? And at the end of the day, I went back to the drawing board and I told myself that this is the passion, this is what I love. And if I hadn't done that, I would still be over there on East Colfax selling Chevys right now. And I just want to, put it out there that no matter where you are in your life, you can reach within and reach deeper. And now I'm living my dream. And I was still living my dream selling Chevys. I was still having a great time because at night I would go to shows and I would try to still stay in the game, but you're never out of the game.
Yeah.
Life is dope.
Somebody
And
called
I appreciate
somebody,
all
and then
that.
Lyle had a flyer in the front seat thanks to this guy. I'm like, yo, there's a nightclub going on tonight.
For real.
Yeah, I know.
Lynn Lyle, that one was free.
Never. Yeah, Lynn Loud, that was free.
Word,
My
man.
Escalade needs a new shock, so I need to come bring it.
Y'all
down.
dropped some jewels, man. We appreciate y'all for coming through. Definitely
Real
gonna have
quick,
to come back. What you got, Dave?
Our producer Julius, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I want to shout some.
What would
Can I
you
plug some
leave
shows
the
real
world?
quick? Because I came here to plug some shit. I never got the chance. Hold on, let me plug some shit.
Life is dope. That's all I gotta say.
That's
And I
it.
gotta say one thing.
My nigga.
Trev Rich, Balance album, out in August. It's incredible. Watch for it.
Yeah.
Let me plug a
It's
couple
probably out
shows.
right now if
Let
you're
me
listening to
plug
this.
a couple shows real quick. We got the Khalid American Teen Tour August 20th. We got Playboy Cardi at the Ogden August 29th. Ja Rule and Ashanti September 1st.
Right.
And Damian Marley September 21st. I'm looking forward to all these shows. Go get your tickets.
I'm gonna
And
that Playboy Cardi one, just Millie rocking.
Hell yeah.
that's my shit.
AXS.
All we have to do is just play Magnolia like 8
Shout out to
times.
all the shows that probably already passed by the time this episode dropped. But we in there, man. Life is dope.
See, I thought we were live.
I'm your man, Graffiti.
And congratulations to y'all, man. Y'all doing a great thing. Man.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
watching y'all.
We are on iHeartRadio. Officially, you can check out Life is Dope on
I remember
iHeartRadio.
when y'all mentioned this thing.
Goddamn.
I remember when y'all mentioned this, and y'all are here now. Congratulations, man.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
for
Thank
real.
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm Dave.
I'm Graffiti. Skirt. Hell yeah.